Alright, man, what's good, everyone? It's the Aggie Coach here. Alright, man, I told you guys I was going to get back to the grind. So, that's what we're getting ready to do. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is going to be a series of videos as I am getting ready for the big game. The big Aggie Eagle Classic, which I'm going to be bringing to you guys this week. But before I can bring that game to you, we got to prepare North Carolina Central for the big game. So this week, the next few days, is going to be a series of videos that I am going to do, which is going to show you guys how we prepare for the big game. And I'm going to reveal some things that I have not revealed in 3 seasons, 3 years essentially. And that is a little bit about the FAT8 conference rule standard. The official FAT8 rule standard. That is the rule book that you see right here in front of you. This is the FAT8 conference rule book, and it is essential to putting together teams within the FAT8 conference because of how unique each team is expected to perform. And one of the things that I want to point out for everybody out there who have been really watching, especially you guys that are, if you are playing in a lot of tournaments and so forth, this is probably going to sound a little strange. But when the brothers of the FAT8, when we all get together and play these season games together, in most cases, I'm not always playing by myself. And the reason for that, you never can really tell because of this is a principle that we utilize within the FAT8 conference. The goal is to remove us completely from the game altogether. The goal is for you to focus on the 2 teams that is playing, not the 2 coaches that are playing against each other. So this was one of the things, like when my father was here and when Pope was here playing, or when Big Lock is here playing with me, 9 times out of 10, you'll have no idea who it is that's actually playing, because you're going to hear my voice, but you're not going to see us. And that is because other than you seeing someone's hand, and maybe you kind of get used to seeing that hand, other than seeing someone's hand every now and again in the video, the goal is for us to not highlight ourselves. And the goal is to highlight the 2 teams that are playing. And so that is the FAT8 entertainment value that we have. We try to remove ourselves from the picture as much as possible. So, in light of that, I want to share with you guys how I go about going through the tedious process of putting together a team. And you will not believe how complex it actually is. But I am going to share that with you guys. So thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry this intro was 3 minutes long. All right, so let's get into it. So the FAT8 rule standard. So the first thing that I want to point out is when putting a team together, one of the things that I try not to do is think about where the models came from and who made them, right? I try to kind of get a feeling of the spirit of this team. What is this team interested in? What goals are this team interested in accomplishing? And how is this team going to go about accomplishing that goal? And what personnel do you put in the correct place to accomplish those goals? So let's get into it. So the very first thing that you got to keep in mind is that in real football, players are not all the same way. So in an actual football team, college or pro, there are very, 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 very rare situations where you would, even if you're lucky, even having 1 player or 2 players on the same team who have the exact identical same weight. Therefore, I have created a weighting range system that we call APW, which means actual player weight. So our APW system, I'm going to flip over to that page really quickly. Here we go. So our APW system essentially is a weight scale range. right? So for example, on average, and this was something that we had to come up with, I actually had some of the coaches at North Carolina A&T, at Winston-Salem State, help me out with coming up with these ranges, because I still have a connection with coaches in college. So I consulted them with coming up with these weight ranges. And this is some of the things that coaches kind of look for. So I figured I would use something a little more realistic, something that actual HBCUs are actually using this range. So all I had to do was convert it into grams. So the quarterback position, for example, the quarterback position, true weight equivalent, 155 pounds to 225 pounds. It's very rare that you see a quarterback in college that is like 250 pounds, 270 pounds, 300 pounds. You don't see that. So, I mean, if you do, it's a fluke, a freak of nature, right? It's just rare that it happens. Okay, so all I did was I made the adjustment in grams. So, in the FAT8 conference, your quarterback can have a weight range between 2.4 grams as a minimum and a maximum of 4.5 grams. You can choose any number within that range that suits your system. Okay. Now, running backs between 2.4 grams and 5.5 grams. So you can take a running back at a minimum of 155 pounds, ranging up to about 245 pounds. And most teams don't want running backs at 245 pounds. That is just too big. Okay. Then you have fullbacks. So the fullback range starts at a minimum of 3.5 grams and can go up to 6 grams, right? So that is 185 pounds to there about 255 pounds. And again, it is rare that you see fullbacks at that 255 pound range. Okay, it's just too big. Then at the tight end position, so the same thing, the tight end position, fullback, your tight ends start around 4 grams and they can range to 6.5 grams. So that scaled it up from 195 pounds to about 285 pounds, which is massive for a tight end. Offensive line and defensive line can be 5 grams minimum and as much as 8 grams. That is 230 pounds to about 350 pounds. Okay. Then wide receivers come back down to 2.4. So wide receivers, cornerbacks, and strong safeties and free safeties, minimum 2.4, and they range about 5.5. Right. So that range is still the same, 155 to 245. Okay. And then linebackers. So linebackers at 4 grams to about 5.8 grams, which puts them at 195 pounds to 255 pounds. Now, we're flexible at the linebacker position because some teams like to have lighter linebackers. Like, for example, the Howard University team has a linebacker that is 3.5 grams, which is well below the 4.0 grams, but he is an absolute monster. He can come up and make some big hits, right? And then, of course, the defensive end, from 3 grams to 7 grams. So about 175 pounds to 300 pounds. Right. Now, why do this? Well, for one, after consulting with college coaches where I play football and I've spoken with other college coaches, this is kind of the rubric that they follow. So I decided to stick with this. This is the way that we're going to go. So now what I have to do is look at the system that a team is going to be running, right? And then just kind of decide what weight range I want each of these guys to be in. And that makes every team very unique. It also gives you the realistic feel of the little linebacker at 185 pounds or 195 pounds trying to come up and take down a 230 pound running back. You know, that's where you get that truck effect where that big boy just runs him over. Or the little linebacker comes up and just makes a crushing hit on the big guy and brings the big guy down. That is the excitement in the game, guys. That feeling is what makes this game really exciting. Seeing that kind of thing happen. And it just trips me out when I'm playing because I'm watching and I understand what the weight ranges are. And when I see those little guys come up and just make a crushing hit, It is awesome, and you've seen it over the course of the season. It's really, really exciting. So, okay, so I'm coming down to the end of video 1. I wanted to share with you guys the weight range. So in the next video, we're going to get into the roster setup, how the rosters are set up, and how it plays into our APW, actual player weight system. So this is the FAT8 APW system. All right, don't forget to hit the like button on your way out, man. You guys, thank you. Comment, like, and subscribe. Hit that like button on the way out. I appreciate it. Look out for the next video. North Carolina Central University roster. I'm going to show you how the FAT8 rosters are set up. Peace.